One of the economic questions, policy questions being debated, aside from the expiration of the tax cuts, and it is somewhat related in that some people are talking about this as a potential offset. And I'm talking about
Hmm.
tariffs. I mean, President Trump has been very, very big on tariffs, proposing some rather huge tariffs. And so I guess my question is potential revenue effect and potential economic effect of, hypothetically, we're not really sure. Let's take like your model. Let's just take some generic set of
Yeah.
broad-based tariffs.
So let me say first of all that on the positive side, I think it's good that Congress and the president are thinking expansively about revenue, about adding revenue. So look, that's a good thing. And I'm glad in a broad sense that revenues are on the table in that sense. That said, tariffs are a particularly bad kind of revenue to raise if you're going to deficit reduce. The main reason is because the policy goals of tariffs are in conflict with one another, right? So the administration says that they want to institute tariffs as a way to encourage American manufacturing, essentially to reduce the amount of imports, but they also want to raise revenue to pay for their tax cuts. Well, if goal number one works, then goal number two was undermined by definition, right? Or vice versa. Um, uh, the second thing is that what they've done so far, so as of this recording, they've instituted 20% tariffs on China. And they've talked about 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico. There are big exceptions to that right now. So effectively, those really aren't in effect, although there are some parts of trade with Canada and Mexico that do have tariffs on them. But the 20% tariffs on China that are fully implemented and fully phased in, those only raise between 600 to 800 billion dollars over 10 years if they were to stay into effect. To put that into perspective, fully extending the TCJA costs $5 trillion over 10 years. Now, they're not going to extend it for 5 years, most likely, just because of the budget rules and how they're going to get this through reconciliation. But the point being that the tariffs that they've done so far only offset a fraction of the tax cut. So either more tariffs are coming, or they're going to have to find some other way to pay for everything else. And the last thing I'll say is, the other reason why tariffs are a particularly bad way to raise revenues because they're so economically damaging. All taxes exert an economic cost. Some are more efficient than others. Tariffs are a particularly inefficient one. And the reason is because they prompt other countries to retaliate against us. So it's almost like you're like doubling the economic damage as a result of the tariff. What we found is that if the 20% tariffs on China that have already gone into effect, probably won't have a huge economic effect this year. Probably shaves, 0.2 percentage points off of growth for 2025, which is, it's a headwind, but it's not huge. But if you then added on the 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, in other words, if those were like fully implemented without any exceptions, that would shave a full 1 percentage point off of growth this year. Now we're starting to talk about like major hits to economic growth. And then you add in all of the uncertainty effects, the fact that like tariffs are on, now they're off. It's like on an hour by hour basis. Businesses don't know what to do. And so there's like this been chilling effect on investment, I think recently. There's a potential that the economic effects are even greater than that this year. I think, and that's what I'm really worried about.